What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandon Smith. It is an absolutely gorgeous sunny day here in Ontario, Canada, so I decided to switch things up a little bit and do a little daytime recording. Let me know what you think of the changes, if you like it better during the day, a little more creepier at night. Whatever works for you. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to adapt. Just let me know. At the time of this recording, this case happened exactly 5 years ago today. I've said before that I like to feature these cases as close to the date they happened as possible, because as human beings, I believe that we have a certain innate familiarity that is particularly clear on anniversaries. And with that in mind, you just never know what can jog someone's memory. And anything that I can do to try and help these people, you better believe I'm going to try to do it. So, with that all being said, travel back with me 5 years ago and let's get into today's case. The day is Friday, January 20th, 2017. The song Black Beatles by Ray Sremmurd featuring Gucci Mane is #1 on the Billboard charts. The film Hidden Figures, starring Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe is #1 at the box office. And today, Donald J. Trump is sworn in as the 45th President of the United States of America in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, approximately 2,000 kilometers to the west in McAlester, Oklahoma, Holly Cantrell leaves her job as a physical therapist on her lunch break. It is a recess that she will never return from. This Day in Mystery. Friday, January 20th, 2017, in McAlester, Oklahoma is just below freezing. With a daytime high of -1 degree, the day never sees the positive side of the thermometer. Holly Cantrell is a 40-year-old physical therapist originally from Sacramento, California. Holly moved to Oklahoma in her teens and mothered a son at just 16 years of age. In 1999, Holly is working at a sanitary company. One of the people that frequent this site is an older man named Tommy Cantrell. Tommy already has 3 children from a previous relationship and is also raising his eldest grandson. Holly is 23 and Tommy is 46. Despite the age difference, on February 23, 2001, the two are married in Van Buren, Arkansas. Holly later graduates from Eastern Oklahoma State College and works as a teacher at William Gay Emerson Elementary School for 6 years. During this time, the couple goes on to have 2 additional sons together. The family lives together just outside of McAlester, Oklahoma. McAlester is a small town with a population of just under 18,000 residents. In 2017, Holly is working as a physical therapy assistant at McAlester Regional Hospital. At 11:55 a.m., Holly leaves the hospital for lunch. At 11:57 a.m., she is seen walking through the hospital's parking lot. At the same time, a short bed green pickup truck enters the parking lot. Holly meets with the truck and a conversation is exchanged. At 11:59 a.m., Holly enters the truck and disappears from the hospital surveillance. Now, some reports have Holly Cantrell being seen later at 12:20 p.m. at a restaurant called Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store. Other reports either omit this detail or make clear that the hospital sighting is the last time that Holly is seen. In either trajectory, Holly Cantrell never returns to work and is never seen again after 1 p.m. that day. When Holly does not arrive home after work, her family grows increasingly concerned. Tommy Cantrell drives to the hospital in search of his wife. He finds her truck in the parking lot, but there is no sign of the woman herself. Before the night is over, he contacts the authorities and reports his wife as missing. McAlester police get right to work investigating. They start at the hospital and solicit the security for copies of their surveillance video. Holly's colleagues and superiors tell investigators that Holly left for her lunch break shortly before noon on January 20th. They scour the surveillance for this time frame and see Holly entering the green truck. They print out a copy of the vehicle. They take this photo of the vehicle and show it to Holly's friends and family. Instantly, they identify the truck as belonging to Cody Ketchum. Ketchum is a family friend of the Cantrells. Cody is also having an affair with Holly. Police interview Cody, and he admits to being the driver of the vehicle. Cody says that on that day, he picked up Holly from work and dropped her off at Brahms restaurant because Holly had plans to meet with her friends for lunch at the location. Cody said that the two had plans to meet up after lunch, but realized that he could not make it, so he called her and she told him that she would make arrangements to get back to the hospital on her own. Cody says this is the last time he spoke to Holly and does not know where she is at present. After speaking with Cody, investigators next go to the restaurant where Cody says he dropped her off, Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store. They mine the surveillance from the restaurant, searching for the missing mom. There is no sign of Holly. There is also no sign of Cody or his truck. They double back and re-interview their prime suspect at the time, Cody Ketchum. Cody again sticks to his story, insisting that he was there. Cody agrees to take a polygraph test. Authorities administer the test but decline to release the results. Investigators next speak with the man who reported Holly missing, her husband, Tommy Cantrell. Tommy admits that their relationship wasn't perfect, but says that he had no motive to do anything to his wife. Police don't necessarily accept his testimony as gospel, but cannot establish any connection between the two after 12 p.m. that day. Authorities speak to the rest of the people in Holly's life. No one reports seeing or speaking to her past January 20th, 2017. Investigators also cannot identify anyone who said they had plans with Holly to meet for lunch on the day that Holly went missing. Days pass, then weeks, then a full month. Holly Cantrell is still missing. Then, on February 25th, 2017, there is a development. A hunter comes across a purse at the Cardinal Point Recreation Area near Lake Eufaula in Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma. The purse contains Holly's credit cards, identification, and some personal belongings. The hunter reports the discovery to Holly's family, and it is confirmed to be hers. Her family is also suspicious of the purse's pristine condition, appearing to be anything but a garment that has been exposed to the elements for over a month. Nevertheless, the search continues, and in March 2017, a group of 100 volunteers, combined with the OKCM search and rescue team, convene in the area where her purse was previously found in an effort to find Holly. Pieces of clothing and papers confirmed by the family as belonging to Holly are identified on location, but the woman herself remains missing. However, all that changes exactly 1 year to the day from the discovery of Holly's purse. Less than 2 miles from where her purse was originally located, skeletal remains are found. In the same general vicinity, police find a bra and fragments of green clothing, the same color and composition of the scrubs Holly Cantrell was last seen wearing. The epicenter of the discovery is approximately 19 kilometers north of Brahms restaurant. The remains are sent to the National DNA Database for Missing and Unidentified Persons at the University of North Texas, and in February 2020, the remains are confirmed to be that of Holly Cantrell. Holly's husband was the first person to draw attention to his wife's disappearance. He reported her missing and was also the first individual on the scene. This dynamic behavior would appear to be the actions of someone with genuine concern. But when police start digging into the backstory of Tommy Cantrell and his marriage with Holly, they have their misgivings. Cody Ketchum was known to Tommy Cantrell. He also knew that Cody and Holly spent an undue amount of time together. To make the necessary nexus and conclude that the two were having an affair would not take much of an imagination. And while Tommy tells police that he had no idea that his wife had stepped out on their relationship, evidence surfaces that may suggest otherwise. Text messages between he and his eldest daughter, Charity, detail Holly's promiscuity. Tommy and Holly's relationship was not good. Reportedly, even before the affair, there was abuse in the relationship. Tommy also had a gambling problem, and as such, all of the couple's property was put in Holly's name as a means of safeguarding it from Tommy's reckless behavior. Tommy Cantrell is 23 years the senior of his wife. Holly is 2 years younger than Tommy's oldest daughter, an age discrepancy that has its fair share of negative repercussions in the family dynamic. Charity, Tommy's eldest daughter, was constantly at ends with her father's wife. At the time of Holly's disappearance, the two were not even on speaking terms. Holly believed that Tommy would side with his family over her and their own children. Charity, on the other hand, believed that Holly and her children took priority over her and her son. A particular bone of contention was the family farm and Tommy's estate. As mentioned, Tommy was substantially older than Holly, and all of the family's assets were in Holly's name. This means that if Tommy were to pass away, Charity knew that everything would go to Holly and she would likely have no access to it. According to most, Charity wanted her son, Tommy's grandson, to inherit the property, a denouement that would only happen if Holly was out of the picture. Police also found it suspicious that just one day after Holly disappeared, Tommy had her phone turned off. If Holly was truly missing, why wouldn't Tommy want his wife to have the ability to contact him? Tommy insists that the phone was never turned off and it only fell out of service due to non-payment. Friends of Holly offered to pay Tommy themselves in order to have her phone restored. Tommy never responds to their offer. Tommy is asked to take a polygraph test, but says that he is being treated for cancer and will not take a test under this condition. To this day, Holly's phone has never been turned back on, and Tommy has never taken a lie detector test regarding his wife's disappearance. Cody Ketchum is the last person confirmed to see Holly alive. The two were having an affair. They often met up while Holly was at work. Holly would leave work early, and the two would spend the afternoon together. January 20th, 2017 was one of these days. Cody said that he wasn't feeling well, but Holly called him to meet up, and since he was already in McAlester picking up a check, he decided the serendipitous circumstance was right to meet up with his mistress. He says that he drove through a nearby Taco Bell and grabbed himself something to eat, before dropping Holly off at Brahm's restaurant at her request. Authorities wonder why he didn't know who she was meeting up with, as this would be a very normal question to ask in a relationship of this nature. Cody says that, quote, Holly got enough questions at home, and that was not what their relationship was about. Most disconcerting for police, however, is Holly's purported condition at the time of her disappearance. Rumors postulate that Holly is 5 months pregnant. Investigators address these rumors with Cody. He tells them that he is aware of Holly's gestation and that the two were planning to move into a bigger house together and make a go of it as a family. Authorities are not sure if Holly was pregnant. If she was, they are not sure that Cody knew. As such, they are left with just his story and the fact that he is the last confirmed person to see Holly Cantrell alive. All right, so here's what I think happened. As I've said numerous times, my objective in these cases that I cover is simply to put forth the most reasonable scenario using the principle of parsimony. Because I don't know what happened, all I can do is offer these carefully thought out theories in the hope that it'll foster intuitive thinking in the minds of my viewers. I think in positing these theses, I allow for creative debate. I like hearing where you think I may be on the right track and where you believe that I am totally off base. This dialogue is necessary and may just bring us closer to a conclusive fathom. Think of my theories as a crowdsourcing matchstick. This is what I strive for. In the case of Holly Cantrell, I think the most important elements are the facts that we know for certain. Any speculation against Holly's husband or his daughter is just conjecture. Any evidence against them forces us to invent scenarios that may or may not have happened. Whenever this kind of reach is necessary, I have to first rule out the more central candidates that are germane to the plot and elements that we know for certain definitively did take place. Were Tommy and Charity probably pretty upset with Holly on January 20th, 2017? I would say definitely. But in their respective involvement, I just can't get past the ability and opportunity. Holly was last seen on surveillance getting picked up by a green pickup truck. Cody Ketchum admitted to being the one driving this pickup truck. Cody admits that he was having an affair with Holly. Do I believe that Cody knew that Holly was pregnant and that he was willing to raise this child? I'm not so sure. If pressed, I would say yes and guess that he was probably pretty nonplussed with this development. But I could be wrong. This specific, however, doesn't really matter in my theory. One way or another, I believe that regardless of this knowledge or lack thereof, on January 20th, 2017, Cody Ketchum had decided that his affair with Holly had to end. He believes that simply ending the relationship in the way that most civil people do, by telling the other person, just won't do for Cody. The fallout will at the very least be a blow to his reputation in the community, and at most he may suffer some more physical consequences at the hands of those closest to Holly. Either of these outcomes are something Cody Ketchum is not willing to leave to chance. He has a tidier scenario in mind. He calls Holly the night before and establishes a meeting. He arrives at the hospital at the prearranged time and picks her up for lunch. He tells Holly he has planned a picnic for the two. He drives through the Taco Bell drive-thru and picks up the entrees for the picnic. He drives north past Brahm's restaurant and parks at a secluded location in Juniper Point recreation area. They take their lunch and walk down to the shores of Lake Eufaula. On the walk, Cody scans the area to determine the relative amount of onlookers, and just as he suspected, the two pass not one person. They finally arrive at a particularly isolated spot, and Cody determines this locale will do nicely. He spreads out a blanket over the various flora located at the site. Holly kneels gingerly and comes to rest on the picnic blanket. She begins unloading the tacos from their bag in preparation of the lunch. Cody shifts behind her, and just out of sight, he removes a gun from the waistband of his jeans. In a second, he points the weapon at the hindmost of Holly's head and pulls the trigger. She slumps to the ground and expires on the freshly unfurled blanket. With his former paramour now deceased, Cody repacks the bag and slides the blanket from underneath Holly. He makes use of the plentiful brushwood nearby and obscures the body of Holly Cantrell. Content with his conceal, he returns to the green pickup truck and drives back into town, light with regret. Tommy Cantrell, Charity Cantrell, and Cody Ketchum all attended the memorial for Holly Cantrell. After this, all three have done very little in pursuing justice for the mother of three. Tommy continues to raise the couple's children, but is resigned to the fact that his wife's killer will probably never be caught. Cody Ketchum shares a similar mentality. He has since moved on to a new relationship, but continues to insist that he loved Holly and would not hurt her. The friends of Holly have taken up the mantle of finding out what happened to her. They are offering a $4,625 reward for information that will lead to the arrest of the person or persons responsible for the death of Holly Cantrell. Thank you for listening to the story of Holly Cantrell. Please like and subscribe. Before I go, please know that you are a wonderful individual who is capable of good. If you are struggling right now for any reason, as a lot of us are, please remember that we are in this together and you are here for a reason. Please be kind to yourself and those you come in contact with. I'm Brandon Smith, and I'll see you next time.